Why do you think the Philippine government should enforce net neutrality? When you go online, you have certain expectations. You expect to be connected to whatever website you want. You expect that your cable or phone company isn't messing with the data and is connecting you to all websites, applications, and content you choose. You expect to be in control of your internet experience. When you use the internet, you expect net neutrality. Net neutrality prevents internet providers like Verizon and Comcast from dictating the kinds of content you're able to access online. Instead, internet providers have to treat all traffic sources equally. Net neutrality is enforced by the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC. In 2002, the FCC decided internet access providers should be regulated differently than phone companies. Phone companies have been regulated by the FCC for the past 80 years to keep them from favoring certain conversations or discriminating when selling services. Recently, however, the FCC became concerned that a few internet providers have grown too powerful. For example, in 2007, Comcast got in trouble for blocking BitTorrent's access to its network. The FCC didn't want the Verizons and Comcasts of the world to become the gatekeepers of the web. So, in 2010, the FCC created something called Open Internet Rules, which enforced three things. 1. Transparency. Internet access providers had to start disclosing how they were managing their networks. 2. No blocking. Internet access providers couldn't block access to legal content or applications. 3. No discrimination. Essentially, net neutrality. Internet access providers couldn't favor one traffic source over another. Like the United States, the Philippines only have two major telecommunication companies, namely Globe Telecom and PLDT, who provide most of the internet services to the entire Philippines. If the Philippine government would not enforce net neutrality in the Philippines, these major telecommunication companies would be able to decide who is heard and who isn't. They'd be able to block websites or content they don't like, or applications that compete with their own offerings. The consequences would be particularly devastating for marginalized communities media outlets have misrepresented or failed to serve. People of color, the LGBTQ community, indigenous peoples, and religious minorities in the Philippines rely on the open internet access to organize, access economic and educational opportunities, and fight against systemic discrimination. The open internet allows people of color to tell their own stories and organize for racial and social justice. When activists aren't able to turn out thousands of people in the streets at a moment's notice, it's because ISPs aren't allowed to block their messages or websites. The mainstream media have long misrepresented, ignored, and harmed people of color, and thanks to systemic racism, economic inequality, and runaway media consolidation, people of color own just a handful of broadcast stations. The lack of diverse ownership is a primary reason why the media have gotten away with criminalizing and otherwise stereotyping communities of color. The open internet allows people of color and other vulnerable communities to bypass traditional media gatekeepers. Without net neutrality, ISPs could block speech and prevent dissident voices from speaking freely online. Without net neutrality, people of color would lose a vital platform. And without net neutrality, millions of small businesses owned by people of color wouldn't be able to compete against larger corporations online, which would deepen economic disparities. Net neutrality is crucial for small business owners, startups, and entrepreneurs who rely on the open internet to launch their businesses, create markets, advertise their products and services, and reach customers. We need the open internet to foster job growth, competition, and innovation. Net neutrality lowers the barriers of entry by preserving the internet's fair and level playing field. It's because of net neutrality that small businesses and entrepreneurs have been able to thrive online. No company should be allowed to interfere with this open marketplace. ISPs are the internet's gatekeepers, and without net neutrality, they would seize every possible opportunity to profit from that gatekeeper position.